It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Travel and cruise industry, Mexico. All right, this is Tuesday travel and cruise industry news at a special time since I was in port today. Start the show at 5 o'clock as opposed to 11 o'clock, which is our normal time. But this is Tuesday travel and cruise industry news and podcast for November the 8th, 2022. The top story this morning is going to be this afternoon is going to be Nicole's effect on cruises and the latest weather updates. Holland America joins the Australia party. And Norwegian is testing Starlink. And a whole lot more live here at 5 p.m. It's a little better than yesterday. Today is National Cappuccino Day. I can deal with that. I've never been the biggest Starbucks guy in the world, but I do occasionally like a nice cappuccino. So go out and have a cappuccino tonight to celebrate today. If you're listening via the podcast, welcome aboard. You can always access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net. or wherever you get your podcasts from. All the big guys just search for travel and cruise industry news, and up pops the fat travel guy to check on clips or pictures or anything from my travels or travels of other members of the Chillie Cruises family. There'll always be a link in the description to the podcast, so you can hop over and check the video feed. All right, before we get to the news, folks, excuse me. As you know, today was a day in Cozumel. And as I have announced on these pages before, we were planning on going in to visit with my dear friend Elizabeth on location, who lives here in Cozumel. And we did. We went to Pancho's backyard. When I say we, the whole gang of us descended on Elizabeth. And that would be me and of course Elizabeth. She had a line. That's one of those big cats for me to pick it up. I'm doing so, with which I do a lot of that, of course. This is Cindy and Nick, the lovely Cindy, and I knew that Cindy and Elizabeth would just hit it off like two peas in a pod, and they did. So, that's Elizabeth and Cindy together. And I don't mind telling you folks, that's two ladies that I absolutely adore, both of them. And we had so much fun today. And I'm having so much fun on this cruise. It's just absolutely terrific. And this is John and Jane. They're a couple of friends of Nick and Cindy's. And I do have to admit, folks, and they're mean. And to top off the day, my absolute fun, and this, I have this in, it was Carnival. It was Rhea. I sent Rhea a message and I said, "You got to come to Poncho's." Well, she was over at the Chinese place that the crew goes. Chinese, but it's Oriental food that crew folks go to. She came over. It was so good to see her. I hadn't seen her since she left the man. Great day, good time. And now I got to get back to work. I'm just backyard and great. I thoroughly enjoy it. So, all right, I'll be back with today's news after a quick word from one of our network sponsors. All right, of course, we got to talk about Nicole. And this, unfortunately, folks, this is going to be a long drawn out boring weather a summary of what's going on. And this thing has changed. You know, I did a 4:30 this morning. I did an update on the weather. Changed. It looked like that it had ticked a little and was going to go, and it was going to stay well to the east. And it looked as we're going from the tick back in the other on this thing. I'm not talking about, but even the next flying northeast of the northwestern Bahamas, which is about 195 miles west of West Palm Beach. 195 miles east of West Palm Beach. Sorry about that. Maximum sustained winds are up to 65 miles an hour. So we're only 9 miles an hour away from hurricane strength. And it's supposed to intensify through the night tonight and tomorrow. So it's moving west to 10 miles an hour. Pressure down to 990 millibars. this is going to become a hurricane across central and northern Florida and into southern Georgia Thursday and Thursday night. And of course, I'll be driving all that way, at least if I drive and don't get stopped, but we'll see. Additional strengthening is expected during the next day or so, and Nicole is forecast to become a hurricane, like I said, tomorrow when it is near the northwestern Bahamas and remain a hurricane as it approaches the east coast of Florida. Nicole is an extremely large tropical cyclone. Tropical storm force winds extend outward 380 miles from its center. So it's going to cause some problems, folks. This is a summary of the watches and warnings that are currently into effect, and I apologize for the length of this. There's a lot of them. A hurricane warning is in effect for the Abacus Berry Islands, Bimini, and Grand Bahamas Island in the northwestern Bahamas, and from Boca Raton to Flagler, Volusia County line in Florida. That's changed, folks, from early this morning. A tropical storm warning is in effect for Andros Islands, New Providence, and Eleuthera in the northwestern Bahamas, from Hollandale Beach to Boca Raton, Florida, from the Flagler, Volusia County line in Florida to Altamaha Sound in Georgia, and also including Lake Okeechobee. The storm surge warning is in effect for North Palm Beach, Florida to Altamaha Sound, Georgia, and the mouth of the St. John River to Georgetown, Florida. A hurricane watch is in effect for Hollandale Beach to Boca Raton, for Lake Okeechobee, and for Flagler, Volusia County line to Ponte Vedra Beach. Storm surge watch is in effect for south of North Palm Beach to Hollandale Beach, Florida, Altamaha Sound, Georgia to South Santee River in South Carolina, and Anaquata River in Florida to the Ocklawakanee River in Florida. A tropical storm watch is in effect for south of Hollandale Beach to north of Ocean Reef, Florida, from north of Bonita Beach to the Ocklawakanee River in Florida, north of Altamaha Sound, Georgia, to South Santee River in South Carolina. So that's a summary of everything that has happened. The latest from the National Hurricane Center, this is their advisory that came out about 30 minutes ago. This may be some repetitive stuff, folks. I'm just giving it straight off the wire. Hurricane conditions and dangerous storm surge are expected in portions of northwestern Bahamas on Wednesday, where a hurricane warning is in effect. Hurricane conditions are possible across portions of the coast of southeast and east central Florida beginning late Wednesday or Wednesday night, where a hurricane watch is in effect. Tropical storm conditions are expected in the tropical storm warning areas in Florida and Georgia beginning early Wednesday. A dangerous storm surge is expected along much of the east coast of Florida and portions of coastal Georgia, where a storm surge warning is in effect. The storm surge will be accompanied by large and damaging waves. Residents in the warning area should listen to the advice of local officials. Do not focus on the exact track of Nicole, since this is expected to be a large storm with hazards extending well to the north of the center outside of the forecast cone. These hazards are likely to affect much of the Florida Peninsula and portions of the southeastern United States. Nicole will produce heavy rainfall Wednesday and Thursday across Florida. Flash and urban flooding will be possible across portions of the peninsula, along with renewed river rises on portions of the St. John River. Flash, urban, and small stream flooding will be possible in southwest or southeast Georgia and portions of South Carolina Thursday and into Thursday night. Wow. That's the weather portion weather forecast portion of this. What's it doing to the cruise ships and the cruise industry? Multiple Royal Caribbean ships have implemented itinerary changes ahead of the storm. Anthem of the Seas will only call on Labadee, Haiti tomorrow on Wednesday, removing Port Canaveral, Nassau, and Coco Cay. Liberty of the Seas is also diverting significantly. The ship's 4-night Bahamas Perfect Day sailing departed from Fort Lauderdale yesterday, but instead of Nassau and Coco Cay as planned, the ship will instead visit Puerto Plata in the Dominican Republic tomorrow. Independence of the Seas departed on a 4-night sailing from Port Canaveral yesterday and is attempting Nassau today. The last I saw, they were still there, but dropping Coco Cay off the itinerary completely because many ships are sailing in the Bahamas at this time of year. Other vessels are likely to have similar itinerary changes this week, with ports canceled, substitute ports added to itineraries if possible. Port hours could be changed as well. Any guests booked on cruises this week should stay in close contact with their cruise line through email and text messages to be alerted to any itinerary, embarkation, or debarkation changes. Checking schedules and itineraries and cruise line apps can also show updated changes. Port Canaveral, Port Miami, and Port Everglades have storm alert. That could change depending on the forecast we see tonight. Other ports in Florida are expected to release updates in the next few hours and continuing through the week. All right. That's enough with weather today. Besides that, my voice is starting to go. I may have talked a lot today. Did you notice that? I do have a couple news stories. The cruise season is heating up in Australia. Holland, America has arrived with the MS Westerdam, the first of the cruise line ships to set sail down under in more than 2.5 years. The Vista-class ship will now home port in Sydney for the season after completing an epic 37-night repositioning cruise from Seattle after the conclusion of the Alaska sailing season. Congratulations to all America and Westerdam and man. Corporation, Royal Caribbean Group, Centerpoint Energy, Shell, and Texas A&M University will work with the Port of Galveston to develop shore power capabilities at the port. The plans align closely with the initiatives of the cruise companies and port to achieve a net zero carbon operation by 2050. Shore power enables cruise ships to connect to onshore electrical sources for onboard power instead of using auxiliary diesel-powered engines, which produce emissions. This provides significant savings to the cruise company, as well as much smaller impact on the environment. It will also eliminate the black smoke often associated with cruise ships in port. Royal Caribbean has opened its brand new cruise terminal in Galveston tomorrow, the first cruise terminal worldwide to generate 100% of its energy needs through solar power. The terminal has already been outfitted for Allure of the Seas to use shore power when it becomes available. The Oasis-class Allure of the Sea will be the largest cruise ship to home port in Galveston, making shore power an important goal. Now, that's the picture that should have been shown with the Galveston story. How about that? Did I mix the pictures up? Yeah, that's very possible. Let's see what the next story is. After Royal Caribbean and Rudy Grutten, Norwegian Cruise Line could be the third cruise company to ink a deal with Elon Musk's SpaceX Starlink satellite system. Yeah, we've had a lot of discussions on this cruise about Starlink. I mean, I've been on 2 ships now that have it. Boy, does it make a difference. And yesterday, to me, I'm sorry, but the explanation that the company gave on why I just all of a sudden lost Wi-Fi for 3.5 hours before I got it back is just, I'm sorry, it wasn't a satellite. And if it was the satellite, how did the satellite repair itself in 3.5 hours? Come on now. I'm not that thick. I just didn't buy that. It's amazing. As soon as we sailed, we got the signal back. And the signal, because the signal was fine on the first part of this cruise until yesterday at 4:45 when I was getting ready to go live at 5 o'clock. And it went completely out. Anyway, back to Starlink and Norwegian. There's no guarantee that this will happen, but according to several websites focusing on SpaceX, the venture affiliated with Elon Musk, Norwegian Cruise Line, has already installed 11 Starlink dishes aboard the cruise ship Norwegian Breakaway. A user on Reddit took several photos of the Norwegian Breakaway's top sun deck showing a row of Starlink's maritime dishes mounted on deck 18. The user said the service was not active while he was on board and that the ship might be still in the early stages of testing out SpaceX Starlink satellite internet. On a Norwegian cruise that's had the 11 Starlink dishes spotted, 8 were on the top sun deck, 3 more were behind the gentleman that saw them. It's not active yet, he said. I can see as speeds are slow. IP addresses don't show Starlink, and latency is still 600 plus ms. But at least the dishes are installed, which means a launch is probably imminent. So at least we know that Norwegian is testing the system. The system is very good. I've been on 2 ships that have it, and I had absolutely no problems with the internet whatsoever. So that was outstanding. All right, that's it for the news for today, folks. Let's jump over and see if anybody is fussing at me in the chat room. All right. Kenneth is with us up in Pennsylvania. Good evening, everybody. Kenneth said, hopefully Chillie has better luck tonight. Well, it certainly seems like this is back to normal, thank heavens. And I don't mind telling you guys, I was the most frustrated person in the world yesterday after changing the schedule, trying to go live at 5 o'clock and had no Wi-Fi. I was pulling my hair out, and I don't have that much to pull out. Mike's with us. Hi, Mike. Good to see you again. Cruising is fun anytime. How you doing? Let's see. Cruising is fun anytime. I decided to stay and watch about Nicole. Yeah, well, I tell you what, it's not going to be like anything like Ian was, but it's going to be enough storm. It's got enough teeth that you guys in Florida definitely need to be aware of it and be watching it. And there's still a possibility that we may not make it to Tampa on time, but hopefully I'll be able to know more about that tonight or tomorrow. So I did get a message from the captain overnight last night. So I'm hoping still to be able to sit down with the captain for a chat. maybe tomorrow since we got a sea day.
Just kidding.
This is live night replay, Mike says. Nikki's with us. Hi, Nikki. Good afternoon to everybody. Kenneth says we're not bad, getting a little cold here outside. Yeah, people in Pennsylvania, you guys have had some winter already. Mike says not too bad here in ATM, 11 degrees centigrade at 10 p.m. Nikki says that glass is large enough to bathe a chihuahua in it. I tell you what, Nikki, that's a pina colada that must have 7 shots in it. And now I only had 1. If I'd had 2, I may not have made it back to the show. I did, however, maybe find a little bourbon after the 7 shot pina colada. But it was yummy. And it was such a good time. Oh my goodness. I'd have a good time with anyone after a pina colada the size of Chillie's. How many measures of alcohol was in it? That's what I'm saying, Mike. It was 6 or 7 shots. I mean, it had some teeth. Amy says they should name a drink after you, Chillie, or at least a tropical storm. Yeah, couldn't you see that? Tropical storm Chillie. Yeah, right. No, I don't. We don't want any name storm Chillie. No, that ain't gonna happen. All right, guys. I'm glad the live stream worked out today. Tomorrow I will be back at normal time. It's a sea day, so we'll do the show at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time from somewhere on board the Carnival Paradise. I'm not sure where, but this seemed like a pretty good location. And I don't mind some people going by and talking, all unhappy and stuff. That's pretty cool. Actually, this is the hallway that goes into the buffet. And there's 2 of them on either side. So this is a pretty good walkway for folks, going into the buffet. So let's see how much time. It's 5:30. I go, my appointment for dinner is 6 o'clock. So I'll take all this stuff down to my cabin and stow it. And then I'll come back to my cabin to process the podcast later on this evening. I did get both last night's show finally uploaded this morning, and then this morning's special broadcast that I did was uploaded in a matter of minutes. I mean, it was just the way it's supposed to be. So I'm assuming tonight I'll be able to upload this podcast like normal. All right, guys. I'll see everybody back here at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow from somewhere between Cozumel and Tampa. Maybe. You guys have a fantastic evening. I know I will. And I'll see everybody tomorrow. If you're new to this channel, we appreciate the thumbs up. That's terrific. If you haven't subscribed, let me give you an invitation to please subscribe to this channel. We do this silliness every day, 5 days a week, and then extra broadcasts either from cruise ships or when something special happens, like the weather update at 4:30 this morning. So anyway, it doesn't cost you anything to subscribe, and it helps the channel out a lot. So please use this as my invitation to join us. And feel free to hop into the chat room. These guys talk back and forth to each other all the time. I claim that they pay no attention to me whatsoever. That's okay. And I do appreciate all you guys sticking around last night for an hour waiting for me to get a stream that the Wi-Fi never came on. All right, that's going to wrap me up for today. As always, folks, stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising, and hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. Have a fantastic evening. See you tomorrow.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, chilly chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.